In this video we're going to do an unboxing of the new Nokia Lumia 1520. Got two boxes here. This is the 925 and 1520. Just wanted to show you the different size here, kind of a hint of what lurks within. So looking at the 1520, got the standard Nokia box here with Storyteller and Excel illustrated on the outside. Kind of a hint at two of the things that this device is good at. Yellow tab here indicating that this is a yellow variant. The Lumia 1520 is also available in glossy red. The yellow version here, that's a matte finish. It's the same as the black and white variant as well. So there we go, that's the 1520, very big phone, 6-inch screen. We'll come back to that in just a moment. Let's look at the rest of the box content. We've got the usual SIM door key, that's also used for opening up the micro SD card door as well. And then we've got the usual leaflets quick start guide in that layer. And then on the bottom, the colour matched headphones or the headset. Then the charging details with both a USB port and a plug there. Okay, so that's pretty standard box contents. We'll come back to the actual device itself now. I want to just show you, the 1520 alongside a few other devices so you can get a size. I mean, you can see it here in the hand. I can just about hold it one-handed, but I am having to reach my fingers across. This isn't really a device that you can use one-handed, but that becomes much more apparent when I compare it here against the Lumia 925, which is a 4.5-inch screen versus 6 inches here. If I put one on top of the other, you get a better idea of that. You can see there that this is maybe a third bigger. If we bring in something like the Lumia 625 and put that on top of the 925, you can see that once again. I'll bring those all up a bit near the camera so you can see what's going on there. Difference in size, also the thickness. The 1520 is actually a pretty thin device, so that's a nice thing. Very similar actually to the 925, so Nokia really hit a home run on the hardware here. Just looking around the rest of the device itself, you can see here on the side we've got a micro SD card port and a SIM card as well. The SIM is actually a nano SIM rather than a micro SIM, something to note if you're upgrading in a SIM-free device. On the back here we've got the usual camera. This is a 20 megapixel camera. It does have the oversampling technique from the 1020, the Carl Zeiss optics 6-element lens. It's accompanied here by a dual LED flash, the most powerful ever on a Nokia device. Nokia always tend to update their components over time. Just want to point out a couple of other features on the back. You'll see 4 dots here. That's one of the locations for the 4 microphones on here. There's also one here, and on the front there. These are directional microphones rather than omnidirectional, so you actually get a sense of direction when you're recording sound. Nice extra feature that's new in the 1520, and it's the same high amplitude microphones that Nokia use in their other devices, which typically are distortion free compared to other smartphones, especially when you're recording loud music or a rock concert, something like that. Also note the positioning of the speaker grill at the bottom here. It's a very loud speaker, quite impressive, but what I really liked about it, it's actually positioned just on the taper on the edge of the device here. So when you lay the device flat down on the ground, you'll actually find that the speaker isn't muffled, which you sometimes get on these devices. So a nice little bit of attention to detail. I also really like just the finish of this device. It's a matte finish in this case, so the red one's glossy and the black and white are also matte, but it just feels very comfortable in the hand, and I think the edges, which you can see are just gently rounded here as well as on the corners here, makes the device feel very comfortable in the hand. On the right hand side here we've got the standard Windows Phone buttons for the camera capture, the lock key and the volume key, and on the bottom of the top, so you'd expect it's the micro USB port and the 3.5mm audio jack. So if I'm just going to unlock the device here, you can see here going the lock screen and then bring it up here. We've got the home screen here. It's got 3 live tiles across here for the standard size, or a big one and a little one, or 6 small ones. That's new for this device. That's what Windows Phone is going to have on the larger screen smartphones. It's part of the Windows Phone Update 3. There's also running the Nokia Lumia Black software, so we get a couple of extra features because of that. One of that is on the glance screen. You'll see here we get the same notification icons that you get on the lock screen here, so that's a nice extra. You can always see those, you can have those always on. You also get the Nokia Storyteller app. That's an alternative way of looking at photos. You can see here it's done with a timeline, so also with places as well here. If I go into one of these photos, what you'll see is that you can actually zoom out and you'll see the location of where the photo is on a map. As I say, a nice way of looking at photos. It's a little bit easier than just having them in a long list as you do in the camera roll in the photo hub. Another new application you have is Nokia Screen Beamer. That lets you share your screen with other devices. Other than that, there are a few other little bits and pieces in the Lumia 1520 that are new, some extra things in settings, but the main thing, as I say, is this new style start screen. The other thing is you do actually get a bit more on the screen in certain applications. Now this applies to the built-in applications. it can be something like the Office application, for example. Here we're looking at an Excel spreadsheet. If I just go to the first sheet here, we've got lots of information. You can see you can actually zoom out further and you're able to see more on screen at one time. So this makes it ideal as a productivity device. Also, because of course the screen's physically bigger, you don't have to zoom in quite so much to be able to see and edit whichever cell you want to go into. That applies to some of the other Office applications. That kind of zooming effect also applies in the web browser. Other applications, you actually get extra information on screen. For example, in Mail, you get an extra line of body preview text. In the Store application, you can actually see a few more items when you go into a list. So, for example, we've got the Nokia collection here. It'll load up a list of applications, and these extra two you can see at the bottom. But really, the 1520, it is all about the screen. So you've got this great 6-inch screen on the device, but also the quality of the screen is really fantastic. You can see the viewing angles are very good. It's excellent in bright outdoor conditions. So I could only say really it's the best screen I've seen on a smartphone, and that's really what you'd expect from a large screen smartphone device. You get that thing round, it's really good. The camera is excellent as well. I was really impressed with the Lumia update. There's some extra tweaks to the photo algorithms which seem to have done a really good job, but the overall quality of the camera is excellent as well. As I said, 20 megapixels, but it'll actually shoot by default in 5 megapixels with the dual capture mode that Nokia used on the 1020. So this 1520 is really a kind of halfway between the 925 and the 1020 camera. So a really nice touch there. So if you're looking for a phablet device, and there are quite a few on the market here, for example, is the HTC One Max, and you can see not dissimilar in size. The Lumia is actually slightly smaller, and this is a 5.9-inch screen. But I would say the 1520 has the best hardware I've seen on this kind of large screen format device. There's the Galaxy Note 3 and some Sony devices, Huawei also doing some, and Asus. But in terms of the actual hardware, if you look at any one thing, be it the screen, the kind of the build quality, the form factor, the 1520 is really right up there. There's maybe a question about whether 6 inches is a bit on the big side, but that's going to be a debate that will run and run. The hardware-wise, you really can't get better than the Lumia 1520. It's really going to be about the software for most people, whether they want Windows Phone. There isn't all that much changed for this kind of larger format device. They are making more intelligent use of the screen, but for a lot of people, the point about having a big screen device is actually to be able to see the same stuff on the screen, but just at a bigger size. It's easier on the eyes. But I do like the fact there have been some subtle changes to the software, as we can see here in the start screen, as I showed you in the Office application, just to make intelligent use of that extra space. Then with the Lumia device, of course, you do get loads of extra Nokia software. We didn't show you all there's Nokia Refocus, that's a new imaging application, as well as all the usual video stuff, and the here apps as well for maps and driving and that kind of thing. So you really get tremendous value with this device. So there we go. It's a quick run through the Nokia Lumia 1520. We will be taking a more in-depth look at this in due course, and there's a full in-depth hardware review up on the All About Windows Phone site. But we've been really impressed by this device. I wasn't really expecting to like kind of the large screen form factor, but it's really grown on me. And going back to the Lumia 925, you really feel the difference in the screen size. It's interesting. I'm kind of reluctant to go back to a smaller screen device, whereas before I was kind of reluctant to have the big screen. But I think a lot of people are going to like this device. It's probably fair to say it's not mainstream quite so much as this 4.5-inch screen device. But Nokia have done an excellent job on the hardware. I think the software is also very good. There's perhaps room for improvement. A little bit more could be customized for the larger screen devices. But all in all, it's a very solid device. And I think there'll be a lot of people out there looking for that large screen Windows Phone device that will be very happy with the 1520.